So let's go ahead and get started. The 3 ways that you can make money. There's three different verticals. The first one, the easiest one, services. This is the first avenue in kind of a business where you can make money, right? Services, by offering services. Now, services require something called sweat, time, manpower. Usually, it's your manpower, it's your sweat, and it's your time. So, most of you guys right now are broke, okay? You're poor. You don't have a ton of crazy skills, but you have sweat, aka your ability to work. You got time, you got plenty of time, and you have manpower. You have the ability to do something. Sweat, time, and manpower is your secret weapon to get started when you don't have anything. Okay? When you don't have anything, you have sweat, you have time, and you have manpower. Now, why are these 3 important? Because you are the product, right? Your service, the service that you offer, you are the product. So, let me give you an example as to what would be a place where you can implement your service. So we are talking the first path for you to make money is with services, right? So if you're broke, right off the bat, you can do 5 to 10 different services that would get you paid regardless of what you were doing. The first one, anything that has to do with landscape or pool repair service or pressure washing streets or garages and things of this nature. All of these are services that require sweat, time, and manpower, but not a lot of skills. But they are still a necessary element. They are still a necessary element. Why is this important? This is important because the first thing that you need is your ability to make money, right? Your goal is to make money as soon as possible. So you need to start by doing businesses and being in niches where your output is in direct correlation with your input, and where the risk and return, right? The risk that you're attributing versus the return is very well balanced to whereas you're never going to lose money. Because when you don't have money, a lot of people want to do risky business, right? They want their money to grow really fast. You need to learn and understand the fundamentals of business. When you're running services, you understand customer service, you understand customer experience, you understand customer lifetime value, how to treat an individual in order to continue supplying their needs, right? Because you're providing a continuous service. Therefore, you have to continue to prove yourself on a regular basis. Ideally, you want a service that is on a subscription or a service that has a return customer relationship. You do not want to be doing one-off services like, I don't know, shoe cleaning, something where people won't come back for a really long time, or something with a low user base. I don't know. But you want to be on high intensity, high customer base, returning customer base services. That is the first thing you should be doing. You should not be thinking about investing. You need to be thinking about the fundamentals of business, right? Because this is going to teach you the basics to everything. That's all the first businesses that I started were service-based businesses. Businesses where I offered a service on a monthly package, whether it was doing marketing for restaurants, whether it was whatever it may be. We had these monthly retainers with people, and we learned the importance of services and high quality products, meeting our KPIs, meeting our deadlines, and utilizing other people's dime to learn the craft. This is the easiest way to get out. Services. Services is the first one that anybody with low skill sets, right? Not a lot of money, they can go ahead and get started and implement basically yesterday. The next one, we have our digital goods, okay? Our digital goods are going to be everything that has to do with our digital lives, right? So it can be your Spotify subscription, It can be, I don't know, what else is an online subscription? It can be a digital good. It can be a course. It can be Netflix. It can be Amazon Prime, like the delivery service. What else could be a digital good that's a little bit different? Maybe that's good. That explains the example. Okay. So these are your digital goods. Your digital goods are all intangible products that you cannot touch, right? Like you cannot touch a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but you can watch it. Now, a lot of people want to jump into digital goods because they don't necessarily understand that having another one that is a digital good would be like OnlyFans, right? Like that is technically a digital good. I think it's a combination between services and digital goods, but I think it would exist. It couldn't exist without the digital part, which is kind of what makes it what it is. But digital goods are usually what people tend to go to first. What I like about digital goods is that even though the startup cost initially is bigger because you have bugs, you have kinks that you have to fix, you have issues, you have errors, usually the maintenance cost of it is not as high, right? Let's say you run a software and you're teaching people how to scrape products off of Shopify stores, and that is your software. We usually have your development cost, your maintenance cost, your management costs of your team, your server cost, and then usually the rest is pretty much upside, and it has to do with your ability to attract customers. So I never recommend digital goods right off the bat because unless you yourself are doing, somebody said NFTs, right? NFTs are another good one. Let me put it right there. Unless you're the individual that's actually doing the programming, I would not go out and spend money on programming, designing apps, developing apps, doing a lot of this garbage that a lot of people want to do because it's usually difficult. It's usually difficult to have a successful app, to have an app that's fully developed, especially if you have no like app background or coding background. It's very difficult. So digital goods are very good. The returns are extremely high versus the initial startup cost. But they're not going to teach you right off the bat all the essential sectors of a business like services would. So digital goods are extremely important, but digital goods for me are the final frontier if you're trying to build something massive. The second one that we have, and the third one, excuse me, and this is kind of where I started, and I'll explain it to you guys. We have our physical goods. Okay, we have our physical goods, and that's going to be our e-commerce store. That's going to be, our brand that has a clothing line. That's going to be our makeup kits. Those are going to be our LED lights, our cameras, our watch collection, our luxury watches, our cars. These are physical goods. Physical goods is highly competitive, highly competitive, especially online in the internet nowadays. Physical goods are extremely complicated to manage because you have additional costs. You have rolling cost, ongoing cost of inventory. You have ongoing cost of supply chain management. And depending on the type of e-commerce that you run or physical good kind of sale that you run, usually it requires building a brand, right? So you can build a brand in different avenues. The thing is, I personally don't love building a brand behind a single product, right? The moment you do that, your brand dies when the product becomes irrelevant. So I've kind of come to realize the importance of understanding how to do physical products, like physical goods, and have a background in physical goods, but it wouldn't be the first frontier I would tackle. You have a lot more moving parts. I would start with services, right? You have your initial service, what you want to offer. You have your product, whatever it is. You mow the lawn, you cut down branches. I have a buddy of mine that makes $250,000 a year cutting branches off of trees for for the neighborhood, right? Not just his neighborhood. It's quite a big operation at this point, but he does extremely well. So you can't knock services because they're just not as flashy as other things. But the startup cost is extremely low. Not only is the startup cost extremely low, but the risk to reward ratio is also tilted to your favor. I got a question about, would you start trading? Well, trading is a high risk, high reward, right? And it doesn't matter how you want to twist it long term. If you hold all this, there's a reason 70% of traders lose. The reason 70% of traders lose is because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about or what they're doing, because they want to make money, but they don't understand how the markets work. So I wouldn't consider the stock market kind of in these three categories. I would put them in more so a multiplication category of making money. I wouldn't consider it like a job in and of itself, nor would it be the first vehicle of making money. Because if you're not making a ton of money and you lose money in the stock market, it'll mentally fuck with you. It'll mentally like really, really fuck with you. So I remember, when I didn't have a lot of money and I was out here buying stocks, and when the stocks would go down $50, I'd be like, well, there goes fucking half a day's worth of wages. And I would measure it based off of the time that I had, right? So it wasn't really fucking good for my mindset. But if you have steady income coming in, now you can start to learn how to multiply your money. But we're not talking about money multiplication. We're talking about being able to earn money. So the three earning possibilities that you have, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to be services, digital goods, and then physical goods. You need to figure out which one is the avenue that you're going to tackle, and you need to commit to one of them. You need to commit to one of them. Okay. So here we have a couple categories for you guys. And then we'll call it, and then the last one is you need to know the problem/solution, but you should know that with all of them. So I won't really put that there. But anyways, this, guys, is how I would recommend you guys start thinking about making money.